Hey everybody, on this episode of the MacGyver After Show, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 10, Pliers. In this episode, Mac and Bozer find out that going back home is not all it's cracked up to be. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, look at that. We've embraced the current.
Going with change.
Yes.
I do like the new theme song, the little change on it, but I wish it was longer. But they only got so many minutes of screen time. They get used to the episode, so.
And no great hair shot in there.
No.
Hey everybody, welcome to the AFTERBUZZ MacGyver After Show. Right here, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 10, Pliers. Mike and I are back together, yes.
Back in action.
After a little holiday Thanksgiving break, the show's back.
We kicked off the holidays during that couple weeks gone.
That's right.
It's been a whirlwind.
There you go, but the show's back, and so are we. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie.
I'm Mike Kalinowski. Follow me at Mike Kalinowski.
Ah, look at that.
Very simple.
So, it's been a few weeks. What was nice is this series pretty much ran every single week up until just before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And usually, I'm curious why they did the break then. Because it's usually they do the winter finale, but I could be wrong. I think we only got one more, right?
I think so.
To the winter finale. So that was weird. Unless I think this might have been one of those where they had gotten the first half of the season order, but they weren't sure if they were getting the second half, and then they finally get the full season. They're like, oh, we're not ready to go. So let's space out our last couple episodes to get us to the mid-season finale. Yeah, well, I think that's probably what would happen.
Looks like, next week we've got episode 11, and then episode 12 will be airing January 6th. So,
man, that's a big break.
Yeah.
That's the holidays.
There you go. I mean, even MacGyver needs some time.
I'm curious if next week's going to be a holiday episode. A holiday themed. I didn't watch the preview. Did you see it?
I stopped before the previews because I wanted to race here to talk all about it with you.
I hope we get. I love holiday episodes. Every show usually does them. But I hope we get a little holiday themed one.
Yeah, and
I'd like to see what Mac does. Maybe he's got some unique lighting and stuff he does with Christmas for this house. Who knows? Makes snow out of Windex and chewing paper.
That's true.
Chewing gum.
Chewing paper.
You know what I meant. Chewing paper.
I love chewing that paper, man. Speaking of the holidays, usually for holidays people go home, and this episode's a lot about going home.
It's interesting. I think I say that a lot. It's interesting. But I feel that there is a stock trope of, if you've got an action-adventure show like this, or any show per se, they have certain ones that they always do. There's always I always feel there's a prison episode or some kind of prison break. And I always feel there is the main hero goes home and gets embroiled in something.
Yes.
I'm going to make a couple predictions based on this. I think there's going to be an episode where a member, not the lead, not MacGyver, but one of his team, some former, maybe a flame, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a colleague is in trouble. That person has to go, and then either Mac has to help them or something like that. So I'm thinking like Riley and her past life of crime. Some boyfriend or something's going to come back and need help with one last score. She'll get embroiled in that, and then Mac will have to come save them.
Oh, and then Bozer's going to be like, what are you doing? What's my girlfriend doing?
So I think that there's interesting. They always have a couple episodes like that. There's always the trapped in one location, which we have with the embassy episode. Mm-hmm. So, it's a stock trope of, and audiences expect some of these things they know that they're familiar. So I think writers have those in their back pocket stable. When they need to write certain episodes. So
yeah, this one, watching it, I couldn't help but just think of Dukes of Hazzard a lot. Because the show does film down in Atlanta, and I just get that, even though I just thought I just talk about like Hazard County. Just thought about man, I just feel like Hazard trying to elude the police and stuff. Just felt very Dukes of Hazzard.
I feel very stupid now because Frank and I were just talking before the show. We had on Twitter they'd mentioned what we should use, which I thought remembered it incorrectly as we should use the A-Team theme. It was the Dukes of Hazzard theme that they mentioned. And now it makes sense. We were sitting there, it's like, why did they want us to use the A-Team theme? I was like, did I miss it?
No,
it was Dukes of Hazzard. You said it.
You're right.
We blew it. But now it all makes sense. Coo, coo, coo. Roscoe Pinko train. You should have had like two guys sitting in a car.
Yes.
And looked similar to those guys. Just when they passed by, when that one cop. when they're trying to get away
That's
from
right.
the cops. It should have been,
Flash, we gotta go get him.
gotta get him, go.
Well, we started this episode in mid-chase. We see, there we go. Thank you, Zach. There you go.
Good old boys.
Got in trouble from the law.
The bone.
Yeah. So these guys haven't been in trouble with the law because they work for the law, and they're in fact running from the cops at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're so used to seeing them mid-mission that this is kind of, what's going on here? But again, played back later in the episode. It kind of worked together.
Yeah, it's. Certainly this is a a typical way of getting in, starting an episode where you kind of just leap into the action and then cut back
Right.
some amount of time previously to kind of lead up to that point.
I like that.
Do you like that trope?
I do. I like, because we've seen it a couple different ways, a couple episodes. One where it's just a mission by itself that has nothing to do with the coming story, or then sometimes like this where they kind of goes back. It's you always want to know. I like when they do it in movies because you're like they're stuck in that situation. Like how do they get to that point? But movies are different because it's not going to be. It's going to be part of the plot. Whereas a TV show, you're not sure, is this pertain to what's coming or is this just them with another mission?
Yeah.
So you don't know.
Now, how much of what you saw Mac do into the car to give it a little boost would you want to try if you were trying to get away from the cops?
I'll try it all. First the whole with he made the bomb to make the hood fall off, and then he, what was he pouring down? Like he ripped the air filter out. I saw that, and he just poured something down there.
Yeah, it looked like a bottle of like rubbing alcohol.
I think so, because they're talking about more wind, go faster. I mean, it makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. I think it could work. I don't.
No, that's true. So as they're in mid-escape from this cop pursuing them, we cut back 8 hours previously to see what led up to this moment, and we see them back at Mac and Bozer's hometown.
Yeah.
And all right, for you, they've rented a vehicle for this,
right?
A sweet green minivan.
Yep.
What is your etiquette in the car? What's your car etiquette?
I mean, as far as what?
Because Jack was very much like, hey, don't put, watch where you're putting drinks at. Keep your feet off certain things.
It's like it's not your car, bud. It's a rental.
Okay, but how about for your personal car?
Oh. Well, I remember I got my very first car that I had bought myself, and I was driving my best friend and I up to college because he was my roommate. And we're driving up, together, and we go to the gas station, and he comes out of the convenience store, arms full of snacks and stuff. I'm like, "What are you doing, dude?" He's like, "I gotta have my snacks. It's a 7-hour drive." I was like, "You're not eating Cheetos in my new car." It's kind of like in Bad Boys, It's like because you drop a French fry down there, and you put your hand up there, and it comes up like this. You can't be doing that, man. No, I don't. But now I don't care. My car's older, so. You do
whatever you want. Yeah.
Don't put your feet up on the dash.
Okay.
That's a safety thing. That airbag goes off, you're going to be wearing your foot in your mouth.
What about driving? Letting somebody else drive your car? You're like, no, this is my baby. Nobody else touches it but me.
I drive stick shift, so no one's driving my car in Los Angeles.
Okay.
They look at that thing like it's they're like, what is that thing? It's an outdated concept of driving stick, but I'm not a car guy. To be honest, I don't look out for great cars. I'm not one of those guys like, oh, my baby.
Yeah.
I like a nice car, but it's not. I don't know. It's not for me. How about you?
Get you. No, I don't have. I mean, I'm not a car guy either, and I don't really have it because I know like my stepdad always had rules about like we could use his car, but we couldn't use my mom's car.
Okay.
When we were learning to drive, it was like a lot of rules and stipulations on stuff.
It does though definitely seem like a Dalton thing to have rules about a car, even though it's not his. He seems like a rules guy, so it'll fit with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the music that we're playing. We got to listen to the right music,
of course.
Yes. Yeah. Who gets to call music?
In my car?
Yes. Driver or passenger?
Oh. Doesn't matter to me. I'm an easygoing guy.
Look at you, Michael Kalinowski, just laid back and relaxed on that car. Yes.
Yeah.
Now the reason they're back there though is that MacGyver's going to go. They're heading back to their old high school.
Yep.
They get meet one of their old teachers there, Arthur Erickson, played by good old John Hurd.
And to see him pop up, I don't know what I was looking for in the episode, but I knew he was going to be in the episode. I don't know. I was looking at the cast list for something, and I knew he was going to be in it. It was interesting to see because I've been watching him the past couple weeks on Home Alone.
Yeah. I feel like more often than not when you see John Hurd pop up, he's going to have a heel turn. And it was interesting in this episode. Nope. He's just a straight-ahead teacher.
Yeah, he's kind of like, God, what was he in? Oh, my gosh. He was shirtless in it for something. He was a politician with Julia Roberts, like the Pelican Brief or something, where he had a heel turn in. Yeah, he had one of those. But I always liked that guy. He's always seemed like a affable fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy.
No, and it's nice that he and Mac have a different connection. I mean, that was somebody that saw promise in MacGyver at a young age. Especially given Mac's situation back there. It's like he feels, as he talks about it later, there's like this nice moment between him and Jack where they talked about like how coming home, he feels guilty for being here because coming home, even though he has all these great memories, it's also where he lost his mom. And so he feels guilty feeling joy in a place where such tragedy happened to him.
The writers always write great little scenes with those two guys. I really like that stuff.
Yeah.
And those are definitely, of all the characters on that show, those are the relationships that are building really nicely as the seasons are progressing.
Now, for you going back, is there a teacher that if you were to go back, you'd be oh man, this guy really...
Well, my high school drama teacher, Mr. Goodwin, but he lives in California now.
Nice.
I've not met up with him, and I don't believe he's teaching anymore, but he was instrumental kind of in pushing me and acting wise in high school. But there's always a couple teachers that I'd want to see. There was Mrs. Friedman, who was my 9th grade science teacher, who I had a crush on. She had this curly blonde hair with these glasses. Oh my gosh, I remember her, Mrs. Friedman.
Oh, hello.
Go back and see how that's going. Probably married with 7 kids, and
maybe she's been waiting for you.
Yeah,
that's right. I'm waiting for Mike to turn legal, and then I'm ready to go. For me, it was Mr. Tomac.
Mr. Tomac. That's a good name.
He was a science teacher, but he'd also let us do video projects as well too. So he'd let us shoot like short films and stuff as well. It was such a loose interpretation of science, but it was great. I loved it.
I had a video teacher. His name was Mr. Romance. I'm not making that up.
No.
Yep. And the ladies loved him. Mr. Romance. I believe he got in trouble though eventually with the liaisons with the students. So.
Well, with a name like that, I feel like
I'm saying he lived up to it. It was kind of like
you can't help it.
It's almost kind of like a villain. When you're named some certain name, you're destined to be a villain when you grow up.
That's true.
With his name like that, a teacher, Mr. Romance, and he's a good-looking fella too. So I don't know if we're predetermined in life with certain things, but it's always weird going back to high school. I don't know.
Everything seems kind of smaller.
And you look at people and you're like, did I look like that? It's like, so was this high school he was going back to, right?
Well, I guess or like grade school.
Grade school, yeah. That was weird because at first when you think you're going back,
I mean, I guess.
And it seemed high school, but then I was like, thought the kids, it's like, oh no, there's no way, because Mac's young.
Yeah.
But they did kind of give a time frame. They did say 14 years, I think, was a time I started. But I was thinking high school when I was watching it.
That makes sense.
It made him like 32 or something, but I think he's late 20s in this show. So maybe middle school would have been 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I'd be 8th grade. Seems like an 8th grade kind of
deal. Okay, so 8th grade, he's probably 13, so 28. 27, 28. Yeah, okay.
So, of course, he and Bozer are legendary, though, for an incident that happens. Yes, hijinks and an incident that turned a lot of people in the school against them.
But we don't know what it is yet.
No, don't know what it is. Yeah, so as Mr. Erickson is keen to remind, was like, a lot of people still remember that incident.
Oh, if we don't talk about it.
No, we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about the incident.
But MacGyver's there to go and talk to the class.
Yeah.
Kind of pay it forward, so to speak. Go in there. And
science class.
There's always that moment there where you feel like, the kids, when they're going to be talked to about science, all they want to see is like something blow up. And when Mac is sitting there just kind of talking, you're like, just get to the good stuff.
You know what's interesting? As much as Mac likes to talk, because he does talk every episode in whether he's to the audience with his everything, he gets a little gun shy in front of the crowd.
He did.
That I expected him to be a little more loquacious, but no, he was a little gun shy.
Well, they did a good job of panning that room of kids, and they are all just like,
that one kid. There was one extra, and I don't even know if he meant to. He's just like. Like he leans back and started sleeping. I was like, well, he's probably a long day on set for that kid. He's just like.
I like to think that that was just him tapping in. It was just like, man, I'm going to make a strong character choice in this moment.
He goes, watch this. I'm going to get my 15 seconds here. Here we go.
But as he's looking out there to see a student, he does make one connection with a young student, Valerie. Yeah. And they have a nice little exchange there about a principal there. And I think like any teacher, if you could look out to a sea of students and make that connection with somebody who's kind of responding and asking you and is engaged.
Yeah.
That's why I think as anybody that's trying to teach, those are the moments you yearn for.
That was never me in class. That was never me.
I never engaged.
They said Mrs.
You were the guy that was like...
Mrs. Friedman. I guess Mrs. Friedman. Science class, front and center. I was.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
I'm a terrible science student. Terrible, but I did try and pay attention.
I read all the assignments. I read them all. I did all my homework. So they have that discussion, but then of course it cuts to like, wait, guys, I know I'm talking way too long about this stuff. Who wants to see something blow up?
I want to see something blow up, guys. Am I right?
Yeah.
Go nuts, yeah.
And then we have Bozer. Now, of course, we've talked about Bozer. I mean, last couple episodes, he's been kind of integrated of sorts. He's learned Mac, Jack, and Riley's secret.
Yep.
Find out about the Phoenix Foundation, has become kind of a member of that. And we were speculating about, like, well, how's he going to fit in with the team? And this is a little atypical because they're on, like, a leave, so to speak, a little vacation time. But he is there the entire episode and plays an integral role with the team. How did you like him being there for the entire episode?
I thought it was great. I don't know why Riley or Dalton had to be there. Those are the two. I mean, you need to because they're part of the team, and it kind of facilitates. It doesn't facilitate what they would need, but I think it would have been a stronger choice. It was just Mac and Bozer, because then when things start getting out of hand, whether it's the driving stuff or physical stuff, then it puts them in that, oh, this is I don't have my muscle's not here. How do we do this? It would have been different. I mean, they're actors and they're part of the show, and you've got to include them in every episode. I think Thornton was kind of shoehorned out, but with due reason, she should have been that. Like, that was a great way they handled her, but
yeah, you do bring up a good point. That might have been a different story, especially given the way that their relationship was kind of strained for a little bit when Bozer found out the deal. To have an episode where it's just the two of them back in their old hometown.
I think that would have, I think it would have added a little more tension, because it's like he wouldn't have had that guy that's always there backing him up, and it would have been the two of those guys, because that makes sense for them two to go back to school together. Yeah, or even Riley, you could have gotten in there somehow, but Dalton easily could have been written out to be on a mission or something.
Yeah. I mean, certainly Riley, I think you could easily have left Riley out. But I mean, I guess this kind of goes to show you they've become more than just colleagues. They've become friends as well.
There you go.
So it's like, hey, we're the only ones, I guess, they're the only three other people in the world that kind of can really understand and relate. You can just talk, you don't have to worry about censoring yourself. You know, how it is with us. You know, nobody else could do the MacGyver after show.
No one.
You know, just only the two of us can understand.
That's right.
Yeah, that's...
You got that right.
No one understands what we go through to bring this to you folks.
No.
But then as Mac is talking to Mr. Erickson, though, after class, they start talking a little bit about Valerie. And they say, like, you know, Mr. Erickson likes to keep the class open after school to let anybody else wants to come in and just work on stuff, give them that little free time there.
That sounds like a hazard. That sounds like a school liability.
Oh, man, but
wait a second. Why did the school seem empty?
Because I think it was after hours.
No, even before that. I don't remember there being kids anywhere else.
It's just one classroom school.
Well, I mean, I know, no, I know the reason. True. I know the reason why, on a behind the scenes why.
Yes.
It costs a ton of money, and kids have certain hours they can only work, and this and that. I get that, but it just did seem like, couldn't they have had a couple extras walking up and down the halls? It very much felt like one class, no one else. You know, but again, that doesn't affect the story. That's just me looking at things through a different eye.
It was the incident, Mike. It was the incident.
Oh, everyone heard he was coming back.
That's
They're like, we're out. Nope.
But I guess that's the thing when you walk through school halls. In one way, you want to see like somebody walking through, like maybe like with the bathroom pass or something like that. But the other one's like, well, I guess like, you know, when school's in session, those hallways are supposed to be just deserted.
Yeah.
Then you feel like a rebel when you're walking out there when everybody else is in class. You're like, oh, look at me, check me out. But we have some thugs show up to Mr. Erickson's class, and they want the girl.
I knew one of the thugs.
You did?
But it was, again, because it shoots in Atlanta, a lot of my friends that live in Florida that I've worked with are stunt performers. His name is Paul O'Connor. He was the blonde.
Blonde thug.
Yeah, he was up there, and he came back later in the episode. So I was like, oh, look at Paul up there.
He was the one that attacked Mac from behind, right? In that scene?
He was the first one we see come in the room.
Oh,
He's got blondish, kind of wavy hair.
Nice.
Yeah, Paul O'Connor, nice guy.
Very cool.
Real nice guy.
Did you shoot him a little text after you saw him in the episode?
I don't have his phone number. I believe we're Facebook friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, Mike's going to Facebook him right now as we do this.
Why don't I do that right now?
Have him get on Facebook Live and so talk to us.
The show. Yeah, again, just because it shoots in Atlanta, and all my Florida friends and stunt guys on that show.
Mike is connected, everybody.
Hey.
But I do like Mike saying, "Hey, I know you think like the odds are bad. There's only two of them, and there's me in a science lab."
Yeah,
and it's like I guess that's one place you don't want to fight MacGyver in.
No,
he's in a science lab.
He's kind of like that's his element.
Yeah, and he does good. I mean, until the guy whips out a taser at the last second. What
are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, but what I did like was a nice combination using his brains and picking up the book, using the liquid nitrogen, but then also just and a little fisticuffs with the one guy that had the knife.
Yeah.
So he's able to do a little.
He's learning.
Yeah, but he's not in Jack Dalton territory.
No, he's not.
But he can still do enough to kind of in a pinch can kind of hold his own.
Yeah.
But they end up abducting Valerie, and what's the deal here? We got to find out why has this girl been abducted, and the whole time that they also
hence the episode begins technically.
That's right. They go down and find out where first the main thing is like if something happens to that a daughter, you want to talk to the father.
Yeah, you'd like to.
Yeah, and they do.
Which is weird because I was like, at first when they come knocking on his door and they're like, we want to talk to you about your daughter, and I was just like, this is awkward. But then it makes sense because the dad knew that she was abducted.
Man, and Jeremy London.
I know. At first I'm watching him, I'm like, God, that guy looks really familiar. I was like, no way, is the guy from Mallrats. No way. I was scrolling through IMDb. I was like, oh, it is him.
That facial hair was not. That was unfortunate.
I think they went with that.
Oh, well, that was a rough.
Well, he's in the South. He had that kind of like, kind of guy from this. He's not an urban fella. He's a rural fella.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody could look at that. It doesn't matter where you live. Look in the mirror. That beard is not great.
No,
that is like a lot of wispiness, kind of like just floating around.
Some
your
people
face.
can't grow. Like, look at you. You got like a 5 o'clock shadow going on. It's looking fantastic on you.
But I think
you're one of the guys that can grow it.
I can go this far. If I let it go a little further,
I get a good one too. After a couple of days, it looks good. But I can go about a week, and then after that, it's like.
Yeah. I cross that tipping point.
But some of those guys like him, he probably gets that wispiness going, doesn't?
Hey, I would not.
But he looked like a fella that, like, he looked good for the role because he's kind of like disheveled, kind of.
Oh yeah.
Living out in the boonies out there with his rally car trophies.
That's right. Yeah, we do find out he's a former rally car racer.
Right.
And then his wife ended up passed away in town. And
make ends meet.
Yeah, you got to make ends meet.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough. How do you got to raise a daughter, especially a smart one that you want to try to do good by. So you got to want to be able to afford her the best.
Yeah.
And so you got to do what you need to do that. But of course, he's saying, I'm not in on it. I'm just scared. I'm scared. I'm waiting for somebody to get in touch with me. Let me know what I need to do.
Dalton smells trouble.
I buy it.
What did he say? He said he had some kind of weird word where he described the trouble. Mac's like, what? He's like, it doesn't seem right.
Yeah. And I do like Mac's way of like doing like a long distance surveillance is to take.
That's something I would say probably would not work.
It seemed really far-fetched to me.
Yeah, he took like the lighting thing because the solar receiver and the laser he was shooting.
Yeah.
The thing to do back to the thing with the thing.
And that he could shoot that at the window of in the house and be able to pick up the vibrations of talking happening in there. And it would bounce back and it could be.
I know he ripped open the stereo on the. Now, I would not be okay with that on anyone's car. Yeah. You would have ripped the damn thing out.
No, I mean, and poor Jack. Like anytime he puts his money involved in something that he owns or at least is paid for, is destroyed in the course of the episode.
He lost his phone in that one episode.
Yep.
You would always think I never buy the insurance waiver when I have a rental car. If they did, though, they would have been in good hands.
But I think if you're with MacGyver, absolutely get
insurance is a must.
Absolutely,
everything.
Yes, everything collision, I ever owned. Yes,
I want collision. I want property damage, please.
I buy clothes at the Gap. I want insurance. Do I have clothing insurance for this? I just want to know I'm hanging out with MacGyver. Food insurance. I just want to make sure. I want to get the soda replaced if I have to because I'm hanging out with MacGyver. But they're able to find out, like, all right, well, it seems like he knows a little bit more than what he's talking about, even though he's kind of scared.
Right.
But they suss out eventually that, oh man, he's in on it.
Yeah.
He does know what the score is. Then they have to. And in the meantime, we also intercut with Bozer. He's been taking Jack and Riley around, kind of telling them about the old stories.
Yes. Max is looking at his locker.
Yeah, looking at his locker. Trying to get back into school after they dropped off Mr. Erickson at the hospital to make sure he's fine.
He's okay, though.
He got clocked.
Got button hooked.
Yeah, that's right. But like the way that he and Mac used to get into school after hours, the tree that they used to climb is cut, so they have to figure out another way in. Riley, of course, just picks the lock.
I hate seeing that in movies. I hate seeing that lock-picking technique in movies.
The two...
Yeah, and it opens.
You don't think it does...
I mean, I've seen videos where they show what you've got to do. It's like lifting up the tumblers and then sliding it to do it.
And then you got to twist it, right? Don't you?
Well, I've never done it. But it's in every movie, every TV show that needs to do it. They can do it. And just like, we just accept it.
True. I know there's always there's surveillance stores in some cities. I'm sure we've got one here where you can go in and you can buy the locks, and you can buy a lockpick set, and you can just practice on a lock, try to learn how to turn the tumblers and stuff. A friend of mine had that down in Florida when I was living down there for a little bit. Yeah, and that was cool.
Then you have those guns. It's like a gun. You stick it in there and you crank the handle, and it does it.
Oh yeah, and then you can just kind of turn it around. Yeah.
But anyway, no, I digress there for a second.
No, we're just going to pick... next episode, we'll just grab a bunch of locks and we'll just pick them as we're learning how to pick them as we talk. I did it. I picked it. Wow, look at me. But no, it always does seem so quick and easy.
Right.
In anything you see,
Why
TV
wouldn't
show
they have
or
done
film.
that in the first place? Like in that episode, I was like, why is she letting Bozer do his thing? Well, just get over here and do this.
Just to let him hang a little bit.
Okay.
I guess
having some fun with him.
Yeah.
All right.
And certainly this episode, he goes a few times and just refers to her as his girlfriend. And she does not correct them. She has a reaction, but she never says, whoa, hey there.
Pump the brakes there, champ. Yeah. Pump the brakes. She still doesn't give him his digits.
As far as we know, that has not happened yet. But she is able to get the computer there. The old, really, behind the times computer. Is able to pull up security cam footage, sees the cars parked out in front, able to get a partial license plate.
Partial plate.
Yes. And because they're not sure they can get any kind of connection to the DMV with this computer, Bozer does the next best thing, because you're living in your old home, you're in your own hometown. Yeah. Reach out to the people you know that still live there, and one happens to be in law enforcement, and he reaches out to him and he gets the information.
The bully.
Yes.
The bully.
Oh man. So they get the information on that guy.
Yep.
While they also figure out, hey, wait a minute, the dad's in on it. We need to get a hold of him as well. He just is bolting out of the residence in his souped-up little car.
Mac does the old in the tailpipe. Don't have a banana, so they stuck the old, is that like a rag with a stick or something?
Yeah, I did like that when they pull up to that scene and he's about to take off again. Mac, you just see him running. He just grabs a stick off the ground. I'm like, what's he grabbing that stick for? Yeah. And to see him stick the cloth right into the car, that was a cool move.
I don't know if that would work, but every episode, that's how I am. Yeah. I don't know if it'll work, but who am I to challenge it?
But of course, Jeremy London mad. He's like, you've just killed my daughter.
What'd you do? Yeah, why'd you do that? I'm dead,
Yeah, and we find out that after he stopped being a race car driver, he started smuggling money.
We got to the point of how he's intertwined in this.
Yes.
And hey, he had to do what he had to do. He took the skills that he had, made some money on it. So,
but he reached a point where he says, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want this kind of life. And so he says, I'm going to step away from it. And those guys...
They said otherwise.
Yeah, you know what? You're not stepping away. In fact, we're going to keep your daughter until you realize that you should be just driving for us all the time.
Yeah,
and otherwise we'll kill her. So the car right now, MacGyver's kind of blown his car, so he can't get to he's got an hour to make it to the drop point to save his daughter. Yeah. So his car doesn't work. Mac and Jack have got that sweet green minivan.
The sweet green minivan.
Yep. And already Jeremy London's like poo-pooing. It's like, you got to go through all this different kind of terrain, and you just have a green minivan.
Ain't gonna happen.
This is the one that seemed kind of far-fetched to me. The next scene.
But Bozer, I need these things.
Yeah. Do you still have access to the band room?
And he comes running out with this fandangled it was flutes with tinfoil. Several of these he made too. I'm just kind of like, well, are they making antennas?
Yeah, because I guess they said you can trace radio signals, and so you can set up.
Okay, isn't it basically an antenna just a bunch of metal rods, right?
Yeah.
So I mean.
So it's able well enough that they can track all the police radios in the vicinity, so that way Riley can keep Jack out of the way of the cops. That way they can go as fast as they can to make it in an hour.
Which I like.
That
was pretty cool.
Until you come across the one cop that didn't have his radio on.
Didn't have his radio on.
And that leads us to the point that we started the episode.
Roscoe Pico Train.
Yes, Roscoe Pico Train. He didn't keep a radio on. He wanted to keep.
He's talking to Flash.
That's right. You got to keep that radio off. He didn't want to disturb his sleep if need be. But that cop then starts chasing them, and that leads us to where we started the episode.
Yes.
So we have to blow the hood, soup up the car with the rubbing alcohol, take away from the accelerator from the cop.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if they would be fast enough to get away from a cop car, but it needs to happen in the episode, so let us do it.
And I do like when they get to the rendezvous point, Mac gets out early. And I like that he just kind of looks around in the minivan and he just grabs like a can of like compressed air. I think that's what he did. Or like a tire pressure.
Well, it was, it looked like it was
Fix-A-Flat.
Fix-A-Flat.
Yes.
Fix-A-Flat.
That he just looks around and Jack says, what are you going to use that for? I don't know.
Just you want to be prepared.
Yeah, just you never know. I just saw this around here. This could be good for something. I will just keep this with me.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and Jack pulls up, and I like Jack being a little badass at this moment.
We're just kinda, like, I'm not the guy you wanted, but here's your money.
Yeah.
Come get it.
Yeah.
Come and get it.
Come and get it. This is a green minivan. I did not ask for this van. This is what I asked for.
And I love that he's always about his ego, too.
Yes. And Mac's got the point where it's like trained guys like Jack are from Delta Force. They are used to still reacting or not reacting under loud noises.
Right.
But many other people don't have that sort of training.
They get that.
Yeah. So when they flinch, that's the perfect time for Jack to attack.
He would know. He would move in for the kill.
Yeah. So Mac gets a Fix-A-Flat, puts it sits it next to one of the tires.
Now that seems like it would work.
Yeah.
Like because it always says don't overinflate your tires, and now he's filling it actually with a chemical. So I think it reaches a limit and
blows the tire. They get distracted. Cool. Yeah. Mac gets Valerie away from the thugs.
Yep.
Because the thugs have also decided, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter that Jeremy London's not here.
Yeah.
Or just tell him we're going to hold on to his daughter, and he's ours. He's going to keep driving until we tell him that we use him up. Basically.
That doesn't seem very sound plan. I don't think any of those guys know how to take care of a little girl. You know.
Very true.
Because they've got to keep her alive.
Yeah.
Got to keep her in good health. The dad's not going to.
It's one thing for 7 hours.
Those guys are not thinking long term.
No.
I'm just saying that right now.
Not at all. But Jack lays down a little butt whipping, and Mac gets Valerie away. And this is the other part of the episode that I liked, is that Mac takes her to his laboratory.
It's treehouse.
To the lab. A treehouse that he built back when he was a kid.
I like that.
That was kind of cool to see a little bit of early Mac in action.
It was very cool. And I don't remember if in the old show we ever got stuff like this, like to his early childhood. So that for Mac was really cool.
Did he ever visit his hometown in the early show?
I think he did.
Of course, because it's a staple.
7 years. I think he did.
Yeah.
But it was cool. You would expect that exactly seems in character for Mac to have something like that. His own little kind of science lab.
Yeah, especially when you feel like
cave.
Yeah, because when you hear the story from what Bozer was saying, that he'd get picked on a lot until Bozer kind of helped him step in with this and kind of change the dynamic.
Yeah.
But you'd want to have, if you have just a brain full of knowledge or just curiosity, you need someplace to kind of go to kind of think.
I'm trying to picture Bozer when their age sticking up for Mac. I think he'd be kind of more like the con man, like using his mouth to get out of the situation.
Like the Axel Foley kind of deal.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be doing any kind of fighting for him, I don't think, because he's not the fighter either. But it's an interesting dynamic with those guys.
Just kind of throwing a little water on his forehead and then carrying. So he keeps Valerie up there and says, I'm going to go take care of these guys. Mm-hmm. And Jack's able to get away, but they also know that they're in pursuit. And this minivan has been, it's been beat up. It's not going anywhere.
No.
But then it seems like Mac has the idea of rigging the money up with something similar with the science experiment.
We saw that in the beginning of the episode, so he's doing it again. And I've seen that happen. I meant to say it earlier in the episode today. That thing, I've seen that done. There's usually on Facebook they'll pop up. It's like 5-minute science experiments, and that is I've seen that a lot where they put the liquids together and it shoots up because of the funnel and it explodes. Not explodes, but forms a chemical reaction. So that is definitely doable, I would think.
It looks cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So he does that, and to such an extent that it ends up filling up not only the cash bags but the entire car.
It was good
with the drivers in there, and keeps them distracted and held in long enough for the authorities to get there.
Yeah.
Bozer brought in the reinforcements.
Their old high school or grade school compadre, the bully.
Yes, and we learned that the bully that Bozer popped and broke his nose ended up being suspended for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's Mac came over every single day and helped him with his homework, and that's how their friendship formed. But for such an event, Bozer seems to get away for this fine. Donnie doesn't really seem to have anything against Bozer.
No.
But Mac is there, and once Jack lips off a little to him, he arrests everybody.
He's a guy. I don't care. But at the same time, he's a good cop. Because here you got these gun runners or whoever they were, drug runners with all this money. The cop doesn't know who's what's what. He's like, I don't know, a situation like that, you got to arrest everyone.
I think he jumped way too quickly into because I felt like that was just too much old high school or grade school animosity. Like, you know what? I think
he's playing the part. He's like, oh, you remember those time you mouthed off to me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a little fun. I know you're not going to jail. I know nothing's gonna happen. You're not gonna get a record for this, but you're gonna be sitting in the slammer for a couple hours while I get this sorted out. Now, he's got his hands in the bells. Like, we're going down to the station. We're gonna sort this out.
Oh, that's a guy.
No lip. Frank, I'd bust you down to the station for that lip you got going on right now. I was like,
come on.
You think we're old buddies right now? I'll bring you down to the station.
You're abusing your authority.
You're gonna like a little bit of time in the clink.
You're a public servant. I pay your salary.
Oh.
That's the one that gets me thrown.
The next shot is you with the handcuffs on.
I pay your salary. So everything is fine. And
yeah, but then the next scene, they're walking out of the police station, and like
Thornton comes into town, clears everything up, and says, "Hey, guess what? Next time something like this happens, don't try to hide it from me. Just let me know." And by the way, Jack, you're also paying for this minivan. We're not covering for it.
Yes,
coming out your salary.
I'm not. But then he was like with that SUV, that whole bit. I was like, that was weird. I'm like,
that one was I was like, okay,
all right, it's a rental car. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That was weird.
And then the episode ends where we have got Mac passing on the lab.
Yeah.
To
and I like that.
Yes.
That was a nice little bit. I like the picture of the two of them, and I loved the hey, if you or your dad ever need anything, here's my number.
That's very cool.
I like that.
And just like the 3 promises, like 1, you'll come here often.
Yep.
And then 2, forgive your dad because he's hurting too. And then 3, if you ever need help, just give it a shot.
Really cool.
So I just liked. Even if they didn't have like any kind of life-threatening emergency, it would be cool to at least have some kind of touchstone where maybe she, is able to come to the think tank or something like that. Just, I don't know.
Bring her back at some point.
Just some kind of, it was kind of cool to see Mac just like kind of interacting with a younger version of him potentially.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Yeah.
It was interesting because this was, again, standalone. We didn't get any to the ongoing threat. But we don't need to. Not every episode needs to have that.
No, and I just, I don't necessarily need that, but I do like those ones like we talked about before, that you just get Jack and Mac in a car or wherever they're just talking about some kind of issue between the two of them.
And okay, the episode is over. This seemed a slight step back from the episode we had last time. As far as, I'm trying to think, what was the very last one we saw? It wasn't Embassy, was it? Or was it Embassy?
It was
the Embassy breakout?
Yeah.
Everything came together for that episode, I think.
Very true.
So this one seemed, a step backward for me as far as liking them. But I also know behind the scenes, it's you have X amount of dollars, per season. And some episodes you blow more money on, and then you've got to skimp on other episodes. That always happens, And this definitely, you could see the episode before the Embassy. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of guns and explosions and stunts. And this, like I said, there was no extras anywhere. So and it felt a not cheaper. That's a bad word to use. But it just felt scaled back compared to the other ones. But I get that with television. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I guess because we still have not seen really what the show looks like with Bozer kind of incorporated. Because he's part of the Phoenix Foundation, but we haven't seen him in that role yet in an episode.
Yeah.
So we've had this kind of like, family, this kind of heading home road trip. But now at the next episode, when we can kind of see what's it like when they actually are on a mission and how much Bozer is actually incorporated into it.
Absolutely.
So as we come here to the wrap, I guess we can do like a rapid little fire prediction to close us out here. If you have any special thoughts you want to share.
Well, I think since the next one will be our winter finale, technically.
That's right.
So I think something big will happen. I don't think Murdoch's coming back. His ex, it'll be something with her.
Yes, I would agree with you on that.
I think something is going to happen that will leave us on a cliffhanger, and I don't know what, because we've only been getting little kernels of everything. So I think maybe the reveal of what that organization is.
Yeah. That actually be a good call to kind of find out by the last shot of this winter finale, to see like these are the main antagonists of the whatever this other
time to make our move.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we've waited long enough. We've got to we got to go. Yeah. I don't know. It'll set up the conflict, and again, because this coming up could have been the end. They didn't know if they were going to have more episodes. So then when they were finally greenlit for a full season, that could have changed what this finale could have been, because this could have been a season finale and it could have been a show finale.
True. Yeah.
But I don't know, so we'll see. They got their approval early on. I think, was it September?
They're one of the earliest shows to get that.
So I think this episode probably that we're going to be seeing next week was not even in production yet. So
yeah, they get a chance to kind of plant some seeds for the remainder of the season.
I think we're going to be in for a good season, mid-season finale. I hope.
All right.
Hopefully, and I hope a holiday episode. I hope
that would be great. Come on, let's do. Yes,
I hope so.
I like
those
that.
are expensive episodes because you got to do the decorations and everything. So it just adds up. It's the budget.
Or you just shoot it at Mike's place.
Decorations already up. Yes, they could.
Folks, that's going to do it for us here on the MacGyver After Show. But, of course, you can always like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks, everybody, for hopping in the chat, sharing your thoughts about the episode of the series in general. If you want to continue the conversation with us even after this show's over, Mike, where can they find you?
They can find me at Mike Kalinowski on Twitter. I'm at DC Movie News here at the Popcorn Talk Network, as well as the DC Character Corner. I just shot the Colliders Schmodown movie trivia. I had my episode aired. I don't want to tell you if I won or not. You can check that out over on Collider on YouTube.
I hear you were post-game interviews with Emma Fife?
They were. Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
Very nice. So yeah, make sure to check that out, and you can check me out on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. Folks, we'll see you here next week for the winter finale of MacGyver right here on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.